monthly tournament is the absolute highest level of competition we see in Guild Wars 2. Once a month, all the top teams gather to battle for thousands of gold, a statue of the character Heart of the Mists, and yes, of course, the unique and prestigious cosmetic effect known as the Gizmo. In this series, I cover the strategies, compositions, and yes, even the builds used by the top teams to win the monthly tournament. The NA Finals match took place on Battle of Kylo, and we saw Team USA on blue face off against Ma's team on red. And I'd like to give a quick thank you to Ma for his help in the making of these videos. It would mean a lot to me if you guys went over to his Twitch channel, I'll link it in the description, and give him a follow as a thank you. Now let's look at the comps. Both teams used a support Tempest, a Willbender, an Untamed, and last but not least, a Virtuoso. And then the 5th spot on the team, the winning team gave that 5th spot to a Condi Herald, and the 2nd place team gave it to a Sword Dagger Thief. The inclusion of a Virtuoso is a big shakeup and maybe even somewhat of a historic moment for Mesmer players, because this was the very first time that somebody on Vert has won a monthly tournament. And Virtuoso players, I went ahead and got you guys all a gift to celebrate your newfound success.
Hey, this might not be what I think that I don't even know is in there, because there are a lot of presents in my car and I don't know which is which.
Suck on this.
So that is a rundown of the comps used, so now let's go ahead and take a look at the builds. So it seems that the meta is back down to one singular support, and it seems that the support to fill that role is the support Tempest, which makes a lot of sense. Tempest does a lot of healing, a lot of damage mitigation, it has rebound, it can take the glyph for res potentially, it can choose from a lot of different relics and runes, so very good pick of course. Up next, taking the slot of the Roamer is the Willbender. I know a lot of people are preying on this class's downfall. Well, you're going to have to just keep praying because it is still good even after the nerfs. Kind of takes that role of the thief, roaming around, quick kills, that kind of stuff. It's just good in so many different scenarios. It doesn't have very many bad matchups, and so it's just a great pick all around. Then we have the new kid on the block, the Power Untamed. This is such a good build all-rounder. It's sort of taken the spot of the Harb as something that can kind of duel, it can kind of team fight, it can kind of roam, and it does a lot of damage. Very strong pick, and this is the build that is being taken. Then finally we saw both teams using a Virtuoso. As much as it pains me to admit it, it is what was used, and this is the build that's being run. An incredible amount of boon strip, an incredible amount of damage, an incredible amount of stealth, an incredible amount of invulnerability, an incredible amount of overpoweredness. I hate this build, but there it is. And for our last slot, the winning team gave it to a Condi Revenant. This is still a very strong build. It can roam around and duel and help in team fights. So still a meta even after the nerfs. So there you have your winning team comp for the February 2025 NA monthly tournament. Obviously there are other builds that work, and I think that there's other comps that work. There's even some Spectre gaming that's happening. Mirage is doing quite well. And for the purpose of ranked, there's lots and lots of stuff that works in that game mode. This purpose of this video is just to chronicle what we saw the winning team use in the February monthly. Now let's take a look at the finals match. We saw Team USA break away with an early lead, which was only compounded by Naru winning this outnumbered fight versus the Untamed and Thief. As we can see, he secured the knockdown and was able to follow it up with a Spear 4 and then some sword damage to secure the kill on the Untamed. But Ma's team did not let this go unanswered and fired back with a pick on the blue team's Herald and Virtuoso, and then a very well coordinated pick on the blue team's Willbender put them onto the scoreboard and allowed them to start gaining some points. They continued to claw their way back up the scoreboard with a couple key picks like this great pick on the Untamed by the red team's Thief, but blue team Team USA remained dominant and finished out the game with a final score of 500 points to 151 for red. So GG's to both teams. It was cool to see Doze back in the mix. It was cool to see a Thief back in the mix. And hopefully we'll see a more competitive game next month. It's nice to finally be off that horrible rainy map. So to close out the video, I thought I would kind of give my closing thoughts on the balance and meta in general. I'm not the best PvPer. You know, you can find way better PvPers and ask them their opinions, but anyways, here is mine for those who care to listen. I think that Power Mesmer is above and beyond everything else. It's in a complete league of its own right now, and it's kind of strange to me that Arena that felt that it needed buffs in the last patch, like Mirage got a buff and Virtuoso got a slight buff, and it just feels strange that that was what they chose to do. And now I think they've kind of created a monster. It was strong before the patch, and now it is just insane. It's so good, and it's a pretty annoying spec to fight against because they do a lot of damage to you while they're invulnerable, and most things when they're casting a big animation on you, one of the things that you can do to counter pressure it is CC it or put any kind of counter damage. But when you're up against a vert, right, they use their big blade song. Well, they get an Aegis when they use it, so you really can't punish the blade song. Your only choice is to dodge it. You can't even block it because nowadays it's unblockable. So you're in a really tough spot, and it's kind of an annoying thing to fight. And I see a lot of them in my games, and it makes it very, very hard to play if you're playing anything other than Virtuoso. So I'm really, really hoping in the next patch, or maybe even sooner, they tone down Virtuoso significantly. Maybe even Mirage a little bit. I think that it's kind of another slept-on pick on NA, but I've fought a couple good ones, and man, oh man, are they ever scary. Anyways, I think that Untamed is a fun addition to the meta. I'm not convinced that it needed more damage on its spear. I think it was already doing pretty darn well. But with the new spear, man, they hit hard. I've been hit for 9k plus from stealth. You know, they do get the reveal before they use the attack, which does help. But I feel like the damage is maybe a little too high on it. But hey, what do I know? I think overall, if you know, look past a couple things that are overperforming, the sort of meta in general is pretty healthy. I think that there's a lot of viable builds, but I think that they're kind of overshadowed right now by the top dogs. I mean, that's usually kind of how it is, but it feels like right now Power Mesmer is kind of in a league above everything else, and it's kind of Power Mesmer's world, and we're just living in it at the moment. So anyways, that is my thoughts on the current balance. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments about what you think, what could be changed, what could be nerfed, what could be buffed. I wanted to plug at the end here also, I have a guild for PvP enjoyers to come and hang out and make friends and find teams. If you're looking to be an active member of a guild, we'd love to have you. If you're new around here, I upload PvP and World v World videos in 4K just about every single week, so if that sounds like your type of thing, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost anything and it helps out the channel a ton. Be sure to check out Maz's Twitch channel. He's been a big help with the making of these competitive style videos. And with that is all for me. So I will see you fine folks next week for another video. Thanks. Bye.